Die angs het my drome beëindig. Manlik. Ek het eens planne gehad. Grootes. Ja, ons almal het. Ek wou 'n klein plaas naby die stowwerige vlakte koop. Beeste langs die rivier oor groot maak en vir somer een bid.
Ek het die papiere amper gereed gehad, die toekoms in my hande gehad.
Maar die reëls het vinniger verander as die verskuivende woestynsand. Ek wou 'n nuwe werk kry, heerlik met my hande werk. Maar 'n ander deur is oor hierdie onrustige land toegebou.
Elke onderhoud het kouer gevoel, elke antwoord het vreemd geklink.
Asof meriete nie nou saak maak nie, net politiek en verandering. Ek wou my stem uitbring soos my pa my reg geleer het. Maar wat is die punt daarvan om te stem as jou stem uit sig verdwyn?
Partiebaase kies die gesigte,
nie die mense wat daar staan nie.
en gewone mense fluister net.
Niemand lyk asof hulle omgee nie. Ek wou 'n wit top onder die kapellig dra, 'n gesin op hierdie warm grond bou en my baba styf vashou.
Maar liedjies van haat en bitter gesang het in my kop bly weergalm. En vrees kan môre steel lank, voordat die drome dood is.
Maar die angste kan ons nie breek nie, maak die saak wat hulle doen nie. Jy kan 'n droom vir 'n oomblik verpletter, nie die gees wat deurtrek nie.
Ons gee nie op nie, ons gee nie in nie.
Ons glo steeds vryheid kan weer begin.
'n land waar wet geregtigheid beteken, nie mag gekoop deur vrees nie. 'n plek waar elke kind behoort en elke stem kan hoor.
Ek het gedink aan emigrasie, groener velde vir agternajag. Braaivleis vir ruil vir sneeuwwinters onder 'n ander ster.
Maar buitelandse oewers wag nie altyd, met 'n verwelkoming wyd oop nie.
En om alles agter te laat,
kan jou siel binne verwond.
tog is ek mal oor die reuk van reënstorms op die rooi en dorstige aarde. Die geluid van sondaglag en die liedjies wat ons waarde gegee het.
Bakkies wat grondpaaie afrol, radio's wat ou refreine sing.
'n volk wat geskiedenis deur ontbering en deur pyn dra. Melkos op die stoofplaat, kaalvoet sokkie laat in die nag.
Kinders wat in die kombuis dans sonder die geel lig.
Daar is skoonheid in ons storie wat geen politikus kan uitwis nie.
Geen regering kan die vuur binne hierdie plek wegneem nie.
Geen man wat bo ander gebore is nie.
Geen siel wat daaronder gebore is nie.
Ons kom almal hier gelyk aan met dieselfde eerste broese asemteug.
En eendag eindig al ons reise onder die ondergaande son.
So hoekom spandeer die lewe om te verdeel wat veronderstel was om as een te staan? Staan op in vrede, staan saam, moenie toelaat dat bitterheid besluit nie.
Vryheid is nie net vir een nie.
Daar is genoeg vir almal langs mekaar.
Van die berge tot die landerye, van die stede tot die see.
Die hart van 'n Afrikaner klop steeds trots
En klop steeds vry.
Die angs het ons drome beëindig. Of so het hulle probeer doen,
Maar hoop bly hardkoppig.
soos die gras deurstoot.
Ons gee nie op nie, ons gee nie in nie.
Ons sal deur dik en dun lank bly staan.
Vir vryheid en geregtigheid,
Vir vrede,
onder die son.
vir 'n land waar ons kinders
As gelykes kan leef almal.
dit is steeds ons tuiste.
En ons is steeds hier
Albei,
staan.
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 Marvin Devine. I'm saying bye to all the lies and all the times you cried, saying that I wasn't right, yet I was right by your side. You manipulator, playing games, your friends commentators, and I don't know what you say about our private conversations, but it's got them hating. Thanks to all the rumors you be claiming. It's cool, I'm done with you, so they can throw you a celebration. You gon' hate it when you see me with somebody living better. I'm trying to tell you that me just doing me gon' have you jealous.
Hey folks, welcome back. It is Monday, May 18th, 2026. Just a program reminder, I will not be on air tomorrow. The primary election in Pennsylvania is on the 19th of May, and I will be busy all day with that election from 5:30 in the morning until about midnight. I'll do a night owls after it's over and just update everybody what's going on, but I will not... Sorry, I'm just double checking something over here. Will not be broadcasting tomorrow. So feel free to watch some of my older content, watch the videos I load up. I'd appreciate that because the views really drop off when I don't do a video in a day. So please feel free to do that. Anyway, I just released another video about the DA and his hypocrisy when it comes to forensic investigations. So I hope you check that out. Let me see what's going on in the chat. Looks like something's going on with Sharon Goslin. Okay, let me see. Say hello to everybody over here. Let's see what's going on. How's the sound? Over here. Let's see what's going on. Okay. Mandy, Sharon, Tinky. Somebody blocked. Who blocked you for what? What are you talking about, Abraham? First time you can watch. Who blocked you? Not sure what's going on there. Welcome to everybody. Just trying to see what's going on. What I missed here. Don't rent any cars from First Rental Car and P. They open the race and refuse return deposit. Oh, not only that, Abraham, Fund Invest Toys, and I can tell you that in Durban, they charged me 3 times for the same car. I'll never use that company again. I booked a flight when I went down there for the game against Ulster. That's the CB flew down the same flight with me. Went down there. I rented a car. I paid for it through FlySaf Air. And then when I got there and returned the car, I was billed for it. And then I was billed a second time when I asked for a refund. I was billed 3 times for the same rental. For a car that was supposed to cost me approximately $35 for the day, I paid $150 for in the end. I had to fight for 3 months to get my money back. And in the end, I think I still paid for it twice. It was unclear because of the way they kept cooking the receipts. Yeah, I would stay away from that business. Yeah, I don't know about them being racist. They weren't racist to me, but they were very ineffective and very disappointing. Yeah, first, I would never touch them again. Never ever again. That was 2 years ago they did that to me. Yep. I only did it because it looked like a good deal, but I didn't realize how ineffective and dishonest they were. And it's not a simple mistake. It wasn't a simple mistake. If it had been a simple mistake, they would have admitted it. They could have seen that I've been billed. I had the receipt, which I sent them for paying for it through FlySaf Air. And then they billed me twice. How do you bill me twice yourself? So I paid 3 times for the same car. And they charged me more because it wasn't like the discounted rate through, as if I just rocked up and rented the car that day. It was such BS. Yep, so I'm not seeing what's going on here. No, I'm home. You can see I'm in the studio. Yep, I'm home. Let's see what else. You like that song, I mean, okay. Love hearing good news reviews. Thank you for this channel. Well, you're welcome, Emily. Okay. What's this? Hold on here. I'm looking to see. Yuri, what's going on? Okay. Okay, I don't see what happened to Sharon Goslin, so I'm sorry. Apologies for that. Oh, YouTube blocked you from viewing my videos. That's bizarre. How is that possible? I can't block you from... Anybody can watch the video. All we can do is block people from chatting. Wow, for 2 days. That's really weird that they did that, but it doesn't surprise me. Explains an awful lot about viewership. Thank you to 292 people currently here. I am wearing rugby kit today, California Golden Bears rugby, courtesy of Courtney McBride, my viewer in Salt Lake City, who sent this to me. He's a graduate of Cal. Alrighty, folks, let's get into it. I see some OGs in the chat here tonight. I saw Chris Ehlers and Erica in there. Let's get to the news. And don't forget, I just published a video just moments ago while that song was playing. The Helen Suzman Foundation is going to court to have Julius Malema removed from the Judicial Service Commission. Well, it's about time. Given his conviction, conduct, and repeated public attacks on members of the judiciary. Helen Suzman Foundation has approached the Western Cape High Court in a bid to force Parliament to consider whether EFF leader Julius Malema is still fit to serve. He's not fit. He's not fit to lead a kindergarten crash. Foundation wants the court to set aside Speaker Toko Didiza's 30 April decision not to consider Malema's suitability, as well as National Assembly's failure to decide the matter. Quite frankly, at this stage, it's time to impeach or remove Toko Didiza for incompetence as the Speaker of the National Assembly. She's an idiot, she is dishonest, and she is incapable of fulfilling her task as the Speaker of Parliament. It's time to remove Toko Didiza. Yes, it is time to remove him. Papers filed on the 14th of May. The Helen Suzman Foundation argued that the National Assembly has constitutional obligation to assess whether Malema remains suitable to continue serving. Thank you, Hondazen, for the dog. Is it the dog something? But you've got a cat picture there. Say hello. Welcome to you. Yeah, they to assess whether he remains suitable to serve as one of Parliament's designated representatives. He doesn't remain suitable serving in Parliament. He's a convicted criminal. And this is a second judgment against him, a civil judgment in which he called for the murder of Dante van Wyk, purportedly. That's what the court decided. Well, ladies and gentlemen, the EFF fights white supremacy, except such a thing doesn't exist. There is no white supremacy in South Africa. Only black supremacy and racist laws meant to impoverish minorities, particularly white South Africans. Oh, I don't know what's going on in your county, but is it sorted now? EFF fights white supremacy, not white people, says white Jeffreys Bay EFF member. Dude doesn't look very white to me. White Jeffreys Bay EFF member said he's sick and tired of claims the party and its leader, Julius Malema, hates white people and wants to kill them. But as I recall, Julius Malema, as a leader of the EFF, was interviewed and said, are you calling for the killing of whites? Not yet. Yeah, so I'm sorry. What are you talking about? What are you sick and tired of there, Mr. Christian Carstens? Oh, my goodness. Christian Hendrik Nicholas Carstens said claims of hate directed at his commander-in-chief and fellow red beret wearers who from time to time sing chants such as kill the Boer are simply not true. What's not true? Claims of hate. The primary misconception the EFF hates white people and that it wants to slaughter whites in mass genocide. EFF is not against white people, but rather against white supremacy and white monopoly capital. Well, first off, there's no such thing as white monopoly capital. That's a fiction created by Bell Pottinger, and that myth has been exposed for years. The entire mining industry is now owned by a cartel of black monopoly capital. Yep. All the whiteys have gotten out of the mining industry. They're not involved in it. Yep. The only group of white people that can come close to understanding the struggles of black people are poor white people and staunch white patriots. Well, that just shows what a moron this guy is. So you're saying only people can understand black people are poor people. Why is that? Why? So his bigotry and racism as a member of the EFF implies, and he implies that all black people are poor. That's simply not true. The black middle class is larger than the entire white population of South Africa. It's larger than the entire white population of South Africa. Stupid people like this really don't deserve to walk this earth. Their parents should have disciplined them as children because they clearly got their heads so far up their backside, it's unreal. And we have tributes for people like Christian Hendrik Nicholas Carstens. Yeah, we do. Here's a tribute to the young man.
Stupid people should wear signs.
He does, EFF.
Neon bright so we
It is bright, it's red.
find a way to dodge their tangled mess. Avoid their chaos more.
He should say less.
Wear a sign, wear a sign.
He doxes his own organization's emergency numbers. That is a call list of all the phone numbers for the EFF.
Wear a sign, wear a sign. Nada, nada, don't waste your time. Politicians dance and
Closed
sing.
fist like a good commie pinko.
Blatant lies with a practiced grin.
Handing out mealy meal.
Blame the moon, blame the stars. Blame the traffic or faulty cars. You think they're 6, not 35. Playing games to stay alive.
He should.
Wear a sign, wear a sign.
critical thinking skills.
Celebrities with tails so tall.
Where do they find these people at? Where's Jack Markowitz? Is he done being a useful idiot? You tell me.
Living in your fantasy.
Christian, it's time to go back to secondary school and let the adults play in the room. Here, let me give you something to play with. Here you go. You can play with this little Matchbox car until you become an adult. My parents always encouraged me to think for myself, and I most definitely took advantage of their encouragement to formulate my own worldview. Okay. That's his prerogative. He said, while in school, I became more interested in politics. Through my interest in history, I became interested in politics when I was still at school. I had black friends from primary school. Oh, you had black friends? Oh, then you're clearly not a racist. I mean, just having a black friend means you're not a racist, right? I almost went to historically black college. Does that make me not racist? Just by that mere fact? He said his academic path later took him to Nelson Mandela Bay University, where he obtained a BA honors degree in political and conflict studies. His political journey began first with the ANC and the South African Communist Party. I joined them because I believe in their ideological framework. What, to steal from everyone and give to people who don't deserve? Yeah, that's a very good ideological framework, yes. But then I left the ANC alliance because I believe the party of the working class must be totally independent in practice and in theory, rooted in Marxist-Leninist orthodoxy. Okay, we are going to stop giving Christian any more attention right there. That's all he deserves. The Democratic Alliance has appointed Glenys Breitenbach as the chief whip and named 5 members for the Pala Pala impeachment. The DA has appointed veteran MP and former prosecutor Glenys Breitenbach as its new chief whip in the National Assembly. Announcing the appointment on Monday, Parliamentary Leader George Michaelis said Breitenbach would serve as the party's custodian of parliamentary rules and procedures and would act as one of the DA's chief negotiators within the Government National Union. Good luck with that, dear. She's got a hell of a task ahead of her. She brings 12 years of parliamentary experience as a permanent political class member. She has served through her parliamentary tenure as DA spokesperson on justice. In her role, she'll work alongside Deputy Chief Whip Bax Nodada and oversee the DA's 13 National Assembly whips, 87 National Assembly members, and 12 National Council province delegates. DA also named his delegation to the Pala Pala Assembly's impeachment committee. 5 DA MPs will represent the party as the committee looks into the fitness of President Ramaphosa to hold office. Let me save you time. Let me just save you time. Let me save South Africa's part. Let me save you 10 million rand. And let me save you all the time in the world. Looking into the fitness of Ramaphosa to be president. He's not fit. He should resign. If he doesn't resign, there's still going to be criminal charges filed. Michaelis, Nodada, Breitenbach, Karabu, Kakao, and Nazli Sharif will be the persons on that committee. And they did a very good job balancing Indian, a couple black folks, a couple white folks. So DA-like. Well done. So well done. Well, the state can't tell doctors where to work. National health insurance just got a mortal blow to its communist legislation. The Constitutional Court ruled today that Sections 36 to Section 40 of the National Health Act are unconstitutional. Solidarity praised the decision, saying it meant a key pillar of national health insurance had collapsed. The Apex Court's ruling ratifies an earlier high court decision the government had wanted overturned. The Constitutional Court said government cannot force healthcare providers to apply for a certificate of need that controls where they can work and cannot work and what services they can provide. You see, the communists want to control when you can be treated, when you cannot be treated, where you can be treated. Major loss. And we shall see eventually, if the courts are legitimate, the unconstitutionality of expropriation without compensation, of the Bella Amendment, that needs to be challenged in court. Unconstitutional. So this was challenged by Solidarity, the Alliance of South African Independent Practitioners Association, South African Private Practitioners Forum, the Hospital Association, and 4 independent healthcare practitioners, but not the Democratic Alliance. They didn't challenge national health insurance. Why not? Why not, DA? Why not? Why didn't you challenge it? I'm curious. Curious minds want to know why it was up to Solidarity to do it. Taxi boss Joe Ferrari Sibayoni extortion case is removed from the court roll. Tensions flared in the Quaggafontaine Magistrates Court with Sibayoni's lawyer, former National Director of Public Prosecution Sean Abrahams. I haven't heard that name in a while. Highly agitated following proceedings delays. Sibani, Bafana Sindani, Mvivi Daniel Masela, and Philemon Mzizi face charge of money laundering and extortion. It's alleged the group extorted more than $2 million in protection fees from mining businessmen between 2022 and 2025. This was after the state prosecutors failed to pitch the court for proceedings, which were supposed to begin at 9 a.m. Abrahams did not say he would file a complaint against the unprofessionalism of the state towards the matter. Loud cheers and applause broke out in the courthouse following the ruling. Speaking to counsel, the magistrate expressed her disappointment in the state. It's now 1:19 p.m. and the prosecutor is still not in court for these reasons that have been placed before the court, which reasons actually express my own finding. The conduct of Mr. Mdada has left my mind boggled. I saw him for the first time in his last appearance Friday, and at one point I indicated he was being unprofessional. Today, sadly, we have to sit with that. I gave a clear order addressing him directly that the court's order, Mr. Mdada, that you attend the court at 9 a.m. He is not here. No time, appropriate time for his arrival was given, no matter which. Anyway, the bottom line, I strike the matter off the court's rolls. So this guy is credibly accused of being a gangster and extorting money from businessmen, and because the state prosecutor was too lazy to show up, no one came in his stead. What kind of morons are in this government? Was the prosecutor paid off? Was the prosecutor's office paid off? Is the judicial system corrupt? The judge did the only thing the judge could do. Unbelievable. 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 Is this justice in South Africa? No. Ridiculous. Well, judges dismiss defense bid for docket closure in Zandile Gumede's $320 million fraud trial, which is back underway. You can see that in her exile as former premier or mayor of Durban, she's really suffering. Look at that. The poor lady's starving to death. Look at how she's wilting away. There's nothing but a bag of bones. She's suffering badly there. Former eThekwini mayor Zandile Gumede is really doing poorly in this post-political career of hers. But remember, she's still in the provincial legislature. The judge dismissed an application last week by the defense in the Durban solid waste fraud trial demanding full disclosure of the police document. Look at that. They describe my car, my home, my every move. Accountant testifies in Zandile Gumede trial. Two men claiming to have been paid to kill an eThekwini municipal accountant called her on her personal cell phone and demonstrated alarming knowledge of her car, home address, and daily movements. The accountant said her first instinct was to resign, given that the 4 work-related killings had previously occurred within the city's water, sanitation, and solid waste departments. During cross-examination, she could see that she had limited personal knowledge of the 2 bid adjudication reports presented by the state. Yet they threatened to murder her. Wow. Unbelievable. They described my car, told me my home address, and told me who was outside my home at that moment. They described my home. The man on the phone asked why I was asking questions about the plumber's requisition I was working on. They said, I'm taking food off people's tables by doing what I'm doing. No, you're stopping criminals from defrauding the public. These gangsters have to be rooted out. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Fuel prices will rise again in June. Congratulations to state-controlled prices on fuel in South Africa as motors continue to suffer. According to the French press agency, oil prices rallied and stock markets fell. That's last week, man. Come on, give me a break. It's old news. Well, billions in pledges prove South African summits are not just for show, says Ramaphosa, desperate to stave off his impeachment. Ramaphosa rallied behind the series of high-profile investment conferences out there that hosted recently, saying the engagements were not just for show. They mean to bring together governments, business banks, development fund institutions. Last week, the Infrastructure Investment Summit convened by BlackRock, one of the world's largest infrastructure investment managers, but it wasn't for South Africa. It was for Africa. Genius. Yeah, BlackRock made a $500 million commitment towards the African Infrastructure Fund, which is not for South Africa. It's for Africa. Genius. He claims that over the next 3 years, South Africa will be spending more than $60 billion on infrastructure across 3 spheres of government. But if South Africa's ANC had simply maintained infrastructure, they wouldn't need to spend $60 billion. You could build all new stuff, your new digital city, which doesn't exist. But you've allowed the country to fall into the crapper. ANC. Ballistic evidence links Brown Mokhutzi's shooting firearm to previous murder and robbery cases. Brown Mokhutzi may face an uphill battle when he files for a formal bail application next week. The police revealed the gun allegedly used in the staged assassination attack on his vehicle was also used in a murder and armed robbery. Oh my goodness. Somehow I got logged out of Daily Maverick. Well, we'll save that for now. If I can't have you, no one will. A child recounts the horror of seeing the mother being set alight. A child witness gave emotional testimony in the Pretoria North Magistrates Court describing how she saw her father, Stephen Pretorius, allegedly set her mother, Charlene, alight before saying, "If I can't have you, then nobody will." The minor testified that the attack followed a tense meeting at a Spur restaurant and culminated outside Pretorius' home, where she said she witnessed him headbutt Charlene, pin her against the fence, and ignite her clothing with a lighter. The child also detailed years of alleged abuse in the household, while the court ruled the media would be allowed to access her testimony despite defense objections that coverage of the case had become sensationalized. Wow. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. What kind of idiots are out there allowed to procreate? Well, South African entry-level salaries are revealed, and they're not impressive, folks. Youth unemployment is at 46%. Graduates with no experience earn 3 times more than matriculants. Isn't that interesting? Graduates with no experience earn 3 times more than matriculants. Graduate interns, matriculants. Matriculants, basic salary, 6,000 Rand. Seriously? The mean salary is just above that, just below that. Wow. Unbelievable. It makes no sense at all. Well, the African Continental Free Trade Agreement says a fracture world order means Africa must trade with itself. Easier said than done. The African Continental Free Trade Agreement, something I covered before it ever came into existence and was approved during the COVID scam, has amounted to virtually no change in African trade. Intra-African trade remains abysmal. Wamkele Mene warns protectionism makes the continental market more urgent. Well, stop protectionism in Africa. The African Continental Free Trade Agreement Secretary General Wamile Mene said rising protectionism and the breakdown of the rules-based global trading system have made accelerating African economic integration more essential. He said the global climate of rising protectionism, geopolitical fractures, and erosion of the rules-based trading system makes African economic integration more difficult but essential. South Africa ratified the African Continental Free Trade Agreement back in 2019 and began trading with 12 African nations under the preferential regime in January of 2020. Inter-African trade reached a record $220 billion in 2024, a 12.5% increase from the previous year. $220 billion. All of Africa has less trade than the United States has with Canada, a country of 35 million people. All of Africa has trade with itself less than the entire trade between the United States and Canada, a country, half, it's less than half of what the U.S. and Canadian trade is with a country of 35 million people. 1.3 billion people trading with each other, and the value of what they trade each year is half what the United States trades with Canada. But we're going to sit here and talk about how the African Continental Free Trade Agreement is going to make life better in Africa. It's bull crap. Iran says it's exchanged revised proposals with the U.S. through enrichment, although enrichment remains a sticking point. Iran and the U.S. exchanged new proposals for reaching lasting peace, the Foreign Ministry said today, as President Trump signaled he's ready to resume military operations if necessary. Foreign Ministry spokesman Ismail Bagheri said Washington sent a revised set of proposals to Tehran after Trump rejected an earlier offer. For Iran, the clock is ticking. It better get moving. Won't be anything left, Trump issues a warning. U.S. President Donald Trump has reiterated his threats against Iran as negotiations to end the conflict between the two countries continue to flounder. In a Sunday morning post on Truth Social, he warned that time was running short before a fresh wave of U.S. military action might be launched. For Iran, the clock is ticking, and the better get moving fast, or there won't be anything left of them. Well, things are looking grim on that front. China's economy is unexpectedly weakened? No. Wall Street Journal, you've become a fake news outlet. You used to be such a reliable business media outlet, but now you're just a leftist rag. China's demise is not unexpected. I've been predicting it for years and have been accurately detailing it. Momentum slowed across the board even as Xi Jinping was projecting strength during a Beijing summit with Trump. China's economic momentum slowed broadly in April, underscoring persistent areas of weakness in the world's second largest economy. The marked slowdown, which was tempered by continued strength in the export sector, underscores the challenges facing the president. But they're saying it was unexpected. Of course it was expected and predicted, easily predicted. I predicted. U.S. airstrikes take out more Islamic State, 20 fighters this time. The attacks come just days after U.S. and Nigerian forces killed a top ISIS leader. U.S. forces killed an estimated 20 Islamic State militants in a hotly contested corner of Nigeria days after an operation that killed the group's number 2. Terrorists who threaten our citizens, communities, and national stability will be located and defeated, said Major General Salmonella Uba, Nigerian military spokesman. There will be no safe haven for terrorists anywhere in Nigeria. The removal of these terrorists diminishes the group's capacity to plan attacks that threaten the safety and security of the U.S. and our partners, said U.S. Africa Command. Estimate 8,000 to 12,000 Islamic State fighters in West Africa. Taiwan's President Lai says the Taiwan Strait will never be sacrificed or traded after the Chinese-American summit. He thanked the United States for reaffirming the long-standing U.S. security support for Taiwan remains unchanged. In a statement shared on social media, Lai thanked Trump and Secretary of State Marco Rubio for reaffirming long-standing U.S. policy toward Taiwan. Taiwan is the defender of the status quo of peace and stability in the Taiwan Strait and the region. China is the root cause of regional instability and change of the status quo. And he's 100% correct. Taiwan is 100% correct. We need to support Taiwan. Kimberly Guilfoyle, the erstwhile former wife of Gruesome Gavin Newsom, the failed governor of California, the Bear Republic, his ex-wife is Trump's pick, because she used to date one of the president's sons, for ambassador to Greece, and she's pissed the Greeks off. She riles the Greeks. U.S. ambassador to Greece, Kimberly Guilfoyle, found herself in hot masuka after promoting the opening of a new McDonald's as a diplomatic win for both countries. American businesses investing here create jobs and bring American culture and delicious food to the Greek people, calling it an exciting day for Greece. But the Greeks didn't react that way. They pride themselves on their charred, unedible Mediterranean diet and local food. Greeks do not eat McDonald's. It's mainly tourists. We prefer domestic options or the awesome local, freshly sourced food. Jesus wept. Greece has the best food in the world. Gyros. Gyros taste disgusting. They don't want that junk, and calling it an exciting day for Greece is so Trumpian. Oh, my goodness. Well, Kimberly Guilfoyle is not reading the room very well in Greece. And this is what happened when Trump doesn't pick people who should be qualified to be ambassadors, but picks people who are personal favorites. And this is what you get. Shakira has won. The slimy Spanish authorities thought to steal tens of millions of dollars of her money, and now they got to pay it back. Shakira. That's right. Shakira wins a big lawsuit against the slimy, thieving tax authorities in Spain. A Spanish court ruled the pop star was not a tax resident of Spain in 2011 and ordered the country's tax authorities to return tens of millions of dollars. Spain's national court announced today that it had acquitted Shakira of tax fraud in a case more than a decade old and ordered the country's tax authorities to repay her tens of millions of dollars. The ruling is part of the Colombian pop star's years-long battle with the Spanish authorities. Upholding appeal she filed, the orders the state to return 55 million euros, or $64 million, plus interest to the singer. Wow. This ruling came out in April, but was only released in documents today. At the heart of the case were allegations Shakira, who's 49, had been a resident of Spain in 2011 and therefore owed tax to the Spanish government that year. Spain's national court said that hadn't been proven. To be considered a tax resident of Spain, a person has to spend more than 183 days of the year in the country, have their main economic activities based there, or have a spouse or children living there. The court said in its statement that Shakira had been in Spain for 163 days in 2011. Spain's tax authorities failed to prove that the singer had the core of her economic interests in Spain and family relationships with residents in our country. Therefore, she gets it back. Ha ha ha. Wow. Wow. She wins. Shakira. Well, way to go, girl. Way to go. The theme song for the 2010 FIFA World Cup. They had a Colombian sing about Africa, this time for Africa. Well, this time for Shakira. Shakira. Congratulations to the pop singer getting over in the tax authorities. They still have other charges they're going after her for. Peru's electoral board confirms a June 7th presidential runoff with the daughter of Alberto Fujimori, Keiko Fujimori, will be running again. It's not her first rodeo. Peruvian election authorities have confirmed the official results of the first round of the presidential elections back in early April, just now confirming a month plus later, with Keiko Fujimori and Roberto Sanchez advancing to the June 7th runoff. The final vote count was released on Friday, but it had to be confirmed by Peru's National Elections Board to set the second round, as none of the candidates received more than half the votes. The 50-year-old Congresswoman Fujimori, the daughter of the late President Alberto Fujimori and candidate for the Fuerza Popular, gathered 2.8 million votes, or just 17% of the total. She reached the presidential runoff for the fourth time, and she'll compete against Roberto Sanchez. 70% of the voters didn't choose either one of them. So they've got a tough choice. 7 out of 10 voters didn't like either Sanchez or Fujimori, but nobody got more than 17%. So they'll be doing it again. The U.S. Coast Guard has interdicted $45.8 million worth of illicit cocaine off the coast of Colombia. 511,000 pounds of cocaine last year. More than 3 times the annual average. Now you know why we're blowing up these narco-terrorist boats. Wow. President Trump has withdrawn his $10 billion lawsuit against the Internal Revenue Service, in no small measure, because they're going to pay into a fund to compensate supporters of Trump who were mistreated by Democratic administrations. President Trump withdrew his lawsuit demanding $10 billion from the Internal Revenue Service in an effort to get around oversight by the judge. But no, it's really about the administration has created a roughly $1.7 billion fund to compensate political allies, but not Trump. So Trump is foregoing his case so that other people can get paid out. So, well, the New York Times is reveling in Trump's unpopularity, or so they call it. Trump's approval sinks amid unpopular war. What war? We're not at war. Darkening GOP process. With the midterms nearing, President Trump's approval rating has hit a second-term low as voters question his handling of the economy. His handling of the economy? Give me a frickin' break. Do you think Donald Trump's decision to go to war with Iran was the right decision? According to their poll, 64% said it was a wrong decision. 93% of Democrats, 73% independents, and 22% of Republicans. They say most voters think Trump made the wrong decision to go to war with Iran. Except most voters are pretty stupid. Trump didn't make the decision to go to war with Iran. Iran made the decision to go to war with us in 1979. A bunch of stupid people answering questions for a poll they have no business answering questions for. Thousands flocked to the National Mall in Washington for an America-themed prayer rally. 1,000 people streamed onto the National Mall for a day-long prayer rally Sunday, billed as rededication to our country as one nation under God. President Trump was expected to address the gathering, which got underway as light rain fell. Top Republicans, including Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, Secretary Marco Rubio, and House Speaker Mike Johnson, were also on the schedule. Only one name in the 250 program was not Christian. Most were among Trump's longtime evangelical supporters, including Paula White Cain of the White House Faith Office and evangelist Franklin Graham of Samaritan's Purse. We are deeply concerned that what is really being rededicated as a nation to the very narrow and ideological part of the Christian faith that betrays our nation's fundamental commitment to religious freedom, said the Reverend Adam Russell Taylor, a Baptist minister who leads progressive Christian organization Sojourners. Well, progressive, that's all you need to know. Hate America. So you can be worried all you want. Who cares what you have to say? In another religious issue, Chick-fil-A franchisee is being sued over religious discrimination. An employee allegedly was asked to accept a lower-paying job if she wanted time off due to religious reasons. Now, isn't this the organization is closed on Sunday because they're Christians? They've bailed on Christians. Chick-fil-A has proved what hypocrites they are through the years. An Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, they filed a lawsuit on May 14th against Chick-fil-A franchisee Hattrick, accusing the company of religious discrimination for refusing to accommodate an employee's request to avoid work on Saturdays because of the Sabbath. Hattrick operates in multiple locations in Austin, Texas. The employee who managed Hattrick's delivery drivers at one of its Austin locations is a member of the United Church of God denomination, which observes a Saturday Sabbath. They initially honored the employee's request to refrain from Saturday work. After several months, the company changed its position and demanded that she work on Saturdays. They're being sued. That is an unreasonable religious accommodation, but they'll win. NextEra will buy Dominion Energy in a $67 billion deal. Will combine two of the largest utilities into an East Coast energy titan with territory in Florida, the Carolinas, and Virginia. The company said Monday they plan to combine in a mostly stock deal. NextEra is offering the equivalent of $76 a share to Dominion based on Friday's closing stock price. In addition, they will receive one-time cash payout of $360 million once the deal closes. Dominion's energy shares surged 12% to $68, while Next Era's dropped 4% to $89. Next Era owns Florida Power and Light, the largest electric utility in the United States, and one of the largest developers of power generation, battery storage, and transmission. The combined company will operate under the Next Era Energy name, with a dual headquarters in Juno Beach, Florida, and Richmond, Virginia. Zoran the Moran is opening up a communist supermarket. Zoran the Moran plans to announce that the store will open in the Hunts Point neighborhood next year, as some merchants are pushing back. This is the government competing with the private sector, and it is antithesis to a free market. Mayor Zoran the Moran Mamdani moving forward with a key campaign promise despite the concerns of some businesses, plans to announce on Monday that New York City's first city-owned grocery store will open at Hunts Point in the Bronx next year. He pledged to create 5 of these communist bread lines within the next year. Good luck with that. Another 150 people stricken in 18 states hit with an ongoing Salmonella outbreak. Who is sending damaged meat? Kentucky has the highest number of infected people at 22, followed by Michigan, Wisconsin, and Ohio. Which meat packing plant is spreading this Salmonella? These outbreak strains have been linked to 5 hatcheries. CDC is working with state partners to notify hatcheries of these links to educate new poultry owners and control the spread of Salmonella in hatcheries. Ugh. Gross, gross, gross. The Preakness, as Laurel Park finally shutters. The Preakness was not held in Baltimore, but in Laurel, Maryland this time. Jim Reisner traveled from Pennsylvania to see horse race in Maryland for more than 25 years, and this weekend's Preakness Stakes at Laurel Park closed a happy chapter in his life. They used to do a lot of international races here, and I had a lot of good memories, Mr. Reisner, 79, said during Friday's Black-Eyed Suzman preliminary runs. I hate to see change. I'm too old for change. Baltimore's Pimlico Racecourse did not host the Preakness, the middle jewel of the horse racing's Triple Crown, for the first time in 118 years. That made this weekend's 151st race likely a last hurrah for Laurel, which opened in 1911 and is slated to become a training facility next year as officials consolidate the state's declining racing industry. Mr. Reisner's friend Bill Butterworth sat next to him at a picnic table in front of the truck, sipping a beer while reviewing his race card. It's my first time in Laurel, and it might be the last time, said Mr. Butterworth, 61, who has attended the race in Pimlico for more than 15 years. There's nothing like watching it live and being with people who love horse racing. The legalization of online betting in recent years has accelerated the years-long decline in demand for professional horse racing, leading tracks to shutter nationwide and endangering the sport's survival. The joyful horse enthusiasts who milled about Laurel Park in bright spring hats and cotton suits from Friday refused to label themselves as a dying breed. I hope they revive Maryland horse racing because it's part of our state's history, said Leslie Warder, who drove from Annapolis to attend her first Preakness. Organized horse racing in America dates back to before the U.S. declared independence from Britain 250 years ago. The Maryland Jockey Club, the oldest sporting organization in the country, was founded in Annapolis in 1743. It launched the Preakness Stakes in 1873, 2 years before the first Kentucky Derby. It's even older. Declining interest consigned the Preakness to New York from 1890 to 1908 before it returned to Baltimore. In 2024, Maryland officials adopted a plan to renovate the Pimlico racetrack, which is in sad state, under a new public-private partnership to conserve the state's $2 billion a year racing industry. The renovated Pimlico Plus is scheduled to reopen as a statewide racing hub next year. Churchill Downs, the owner of the Kentucky Derby, is finalizing an $85 million deal to buy the intellectual property rights to the Black-Eyed Susan Stakes and the Preakness Stakes. In response, Maryland is considering buying the rights to ensure the Preakness stays in Maryland. So, Laurel Racetrack is likely to close. Maryland horse racing enthusiasts note that the only father-son duo to ever win the Triple Crown, Gallant Fox in 1930 and Sire Omaha in 1935, were owned and trained by Bel Air Stud in Prince George's County. Legendary horses Secretariat, Seabiscuit, War Admiral, and Affirmed all raced at Laurel Racetrack, which is going to close. Sad to see. I've been to that track, and it's sad to see it going away. You have no idea what I've run and how I've had to adapt. I have no idea what you're talking about. That's not directed at me, obviously. Love the story of Seabiscuit and an amazing secretary. Yeah, Karen, I agree with you. Okay, you guys are talking about something over here in the chat. That's the news for today, folks. Be sure to hit the like button if you haven't done already. Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget, I'm not going anywhere. I'll answer questions now. But don't forget to check out my new video, the DA's epic fail at smearing Peter Groenewald. Yep, doesn't have many views. That sucks. Let's get some views on that one. YouTube, stop hiding my videos, please. Yep. So that one's up now if you want to check it out. The USA voters want nuclear war instead. Exactly, Eric. To drop the lawsuit, but the money will go to donors and supporters. No, it's a settlement. A lot of lawsuits are just done to get people to settle to nuisance. Like we had someone sue our veterans organization over a fight that they started, and the insurance covered, and they settled, but then they doubled our insurance rate as a consequence. So people just settle these nuisance lawsuits. So in order to make a $10 billion plus settlement go away, the Justice Department will make a fund of $1.7 billion that will not benefit Trump because there will be a conflict of interest, and it will benefit those who were harassed by the government. So, yeah, I mean, that's normal. Unfortunately, that's how things work. Outbreak of, I don't know what that virus is. Never heard of it. Don't know that one. Let me look that one up. Unless you're being funny. I think you're being funny. No, it's an Ebola virus. You're not being funny. It's a strain of Ebola. I don't know that one. Wow. Well, that's the one that's causing the current outbreak. That's why there's no vaccine for it. Okay, thank you. I thought you're messing around, Daddy Sarcastic. When you have a name like Sarcastic, it's tough to know if you're right. In Spain, you are presumed guilty and have to defend yourself accordingly when it comes to taxes, and your money is confiscated or frozen. Yeah. No, future looks bright. Yeah, that's right. I would never do anything in Spain. Screw Spain. And with their current fascist government, socialist government, no. Why the Brits live there, it's beyond my comprehension. I guess they're desperate for sunshine and they burn their obese bodies on the beach down there like whales. Yep. Have you ever watched Benidorm? You know what I'm talking about. Helen reported NCFF proposed salary increases $10 million for parliamentary workers, which you've been closed. East Coast Radio that since peace negotiations stalled, Pakistan bringing new terms to the negotiating table. Seems Iran officials, they are stalling, Karen. Iran doesn't want to learn. Yeah, make around Persia again, exactly. If you haven't been through the court system in South Africa, you don't know what a joke or blatantly openly corrupt they are. Yep, no, I hear you, Cool Beans. The best center in the USA published the best book ever lately. It's life-changing for all Democrats and liberals. It's called How to Test Negative for Stupid. How to Test Negative for Stupid. Is it John Kennedy? And thank you for the 14 Rand West House. Yeah, it's John Kennedy. Always be yourself unless you suck. I say this gently. This is why the aliens won't talk to us. If you trust government, you obviously failed history class. I believe that our country was founded by geniuses, but it's being run by idiots. Always follow your heart, but take your brain with you. I'm not going to bubble wrap it. The water in Washington, D.C. won't clear up until you get the pigs out of the creek. I have the right to remain silent, but not the ability. No doubt. No doubt. That came out in October, man. It's only $17 now. I'm going to get that because the price has dropped. I didn't know he put that out. That's funny. That's funny. Yeah, that book came out months ago, man. Did you just get it in South Africa? Your last domino. I only do Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, American cars, and all the programming is online. Local programming area is so bad it cannot work properly. Open Starlink, I already have the hardware. I'm not sure what you're talking about there. But your name is Mopar, so I get it. Mopar Fanatic. Okay, well, I have a Chrysler. Sean Abraham's now a high-profile lawyer defending the worst of the worst. Good to see he kept going where he left off at NBA. Seems now parties only smelling blood in the water, enjoying the shark feeding frenzy. Yep. DA wants to keep the wheels greased on the gravy train. Okay. Hey, Joan. Good evening. Apparently, a Northwest small business chair went off on how 10 workers working. So people that from other provinces not allowed to work there. Pfft. I'm not sure how Thomas Massey will do. Probably not very well. A mayor corporate company just told me today from now on they only may deal with level 1 BE company. Another client lost. Well, then they'll have no services. Friends with Peter Creel. Yeah, no doubt. All right. And that was all back when we had Christian. We've stopped paying attention. Yeah, I can't wait to see your court transcripts either. That'd be amazing. Lana Faber, what's going on? Ingrid, you're very welcome. You're welcome, Spook. My daughter will message you. Her agent said that since they're getting state grant, as agency is finished with them, plus other stuff. Yeah, no, that's unacceptable. She should complain to OR. They're getting paid to provide service there for 5 years. They're not finished with them. I'm going to rip through these agencies. I'm going to expose them. Like him or hate him, Tom Rouse doing amazing things, UK. Well, Starmer's the racist. His behavior, his conduct is reprehensible. His racist against majority UK population. His actions against free speech in the land of the Magna Carta are disgraceful. Okay, thank you. Thank you. I'll look at them. Appreciate that. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Pretty crazy. Some stupid stuff going on out there, folks. Oh, excuse me. Just looking over here at some things. Alrighty. So I've got to set up the polling station tonight at 5:30. So, Westhouse says that Tommy Robinson is a man of action. Well, I don't sit around either, man. I don't sit around either. So I'm home again after being on the road. But I do not sit around. So I'm supposed to be getting something from the elections board. They haven't sent it to me. I don't know why. Oh, my mailbox is full again. Oh, this is so annoying. So annoying. Monday specials. Oh, what's this? Dozen mediums. Huh. All right, I'm going to call and get them. All right, cool. Have a view of flights taking off from our 10 before my balcony watched by my besties take off tonight. Clean it, need... Huh? Okay. Well, just send it by emails then. You're welcome, Loretta. Oh, yeah, tomorrow is a long day. The election days are always a very long day, folks. The more I watch socials and the news, the end is near. Yeah, it may very well be near. If anyone can perhaps help and give me some more information on the program, I'm looking forward to joining. What program are you talking about, Lana? What program are you referring to? June 16th, I'm really looking forward to seeing Jackson Lammer take the win. Well, yeah, we've got our primary tomorrow. There'll be a low turnout. There usually is for the primary. It was 18% last year, so we probably don't expect to see it much higher today or this year. Wow, I had slow views, and then suddenly you got some people tuned up today. So, yeah, no, my viewership's really, it's not great lately. It's a good thing I'm not doing this for that. So I'm waiting to hear what Lana's asking for. Lana, what are you talking about? Which program? Can you be more specific? Tika says, thank you very much. You're welcome. Okay. All right. No Starlink. Just open it up. What can South Africa government do? No, you're missing the point, Delia. You're missing the point. It's about reaching an audience. That's the key thing. But I do reach an audience because people steal my content and put it on TikTok and on Twitter and spread all over the place. And so I don't have any contact with a lot of those people. And we're getting a lot more views on Facebook now. There's a lot of views on Facebook. Let me take a look and see what's going on there. So Facebook. Hang on a second here. That's not what I want on Facebook's what I want. Let's see what's going on Facebook. I have to put my latest video on there now. So we're up to 18,000 followers there. No, don't apologize, Delia. It's fine. There's nothing to apologize for. 10,000 views for the one I published last night, which was the 1 year anniversary from last week. The eviction thing, 73,000 views. The No Starling, 67,000 views. And now the Pala Pala video is 420,000. Oh, the refugee program. Lana, are you just discovering the refugee program? It's been in place for over a year now. How do you apply for it? You simply follow the directions. You go to za.usembassy.gov. Read the directions very carefully. Make sure you use a laptop or a PC, not a phone or a tablet. And be prepared to spend 6 or 7 hours. Save your work if you have to step away. And if you can't get back in, request a new password because they're time sensitive. And answer the questions honestly. And then wait for them to call you. That's how you apply for it. So that's the program you're talking about. You're talking about the refugee program. Well, this is not a refugee broadcast. It's a news broadcast. But there you go. That should get you on the right path. You can also go back and watch my videos on my playlist from the beginning of last year in February when I talked about entitlements, benefits, investigations, screening, all that stuff. You're saying YouTube is blocking you from watching certain videos of the live broadcast if I miss them when they're live. That's crazy. Well, thank you, Sammy. It's very kind of you to call me the gold standard for truth and sense. Yeah, watch the refugee place. Also watch the interviews. But there's a lot of them. I recommend watching the one with Milan Debatek from Las Vegas, the director there. Jean Babijan. The best analogy on today described. Wonk spanner. Please look up the meaning. Okay. Thank you for 35 Rand. When it came to the refugee program, it doesn't mean people aren't supposed to be on the program if they're only applying now. I don't understand what that means. I don't understand what that means, Heidi. Yes, that's why I said save your information when you do it. Rion, you can send me that if you want. States, depends on the state. So, yeah. Why not use a phone or tablet? Because the keys are tiny and you make a mistake, you screw yourself. Lana, I've just answered your question. Were you not listening? You're referring to the refugee program. I just told you how to apply for it. Or are you 10 minutes behind in the conversation? You're probably 10 minutes behind where I'm at. I've already answered that question. Yeah, why not use a phone or tablet, Turks? Because you're going to make mistakes and you're going to regret it. And you can't go back and fix them. So use something that has a proper screen and proper keyboard. And even, I think that's even on the website. Last domino, obviously you're not a long-time viewer of my program because I told you disregard that email. That letter means be prepared. It means you could leave in 2 to 4 weeks. Doesn't mean you're leaving 2 to 4 weeks. Most people don't leave in 2 to 4 weeks. My friend who was in the proof of concept last year, flew to Pretoria in February, was interviewed, never heard from anybody again until the 19th of April or February this year, 19, over a year later. 9 weeks later, he finally came to America. He went up and did his interview in the first week of March, and he got his email the end of that week, second week of March, and it wasn't until 6 weeks after that he came over here. So you need to stop. That means nothing. 2 to 4 weeks. Maybe your case is different, deal. You can't apply your case to this conversation with this here. It doesn't fit. You stop falling for the 2 to 4 week stuff. It isn't the case for most people. It isn't the case for most people. It is the case for a few people, but it isn't the case for most people. Also, folks, let's talk about this since we're talking about refugees now. The cap I said you shouldn't worry about because you can't do anything about it. I also said I think they'll go around it We have no indication they've made any steps. There's no public release of any statement from the Trump administration that they're increasing the cap or that they're going to use temporary protected status, they're going to use humanitarian parole or anything. So what does that mean? Well, that means that through April, 6,066 South Africans had come over this fiscal year. 7,000 was the cap. That means that from May 1st until September 30th, unless they change it, only 934 South Africans can come over. So there are South Africans still coming over. In fact, I know one coming over tomorrow. What does that mean? Either they've gone over the cap and just ignored it, which is possible, but not likely, or they've slowed down the pace and they're still sending a couple people here, a couple people there, a couple people here, so that the program still keeps going and people keep coming over, but a much reduced number. Or they're doing that to get to the point where they can increase the cap. But the bottom line is that we are now 2/3 the way through this fiscal year and we've reached that cap. Or will they use the other 500? Or they will use the other 500 because there were 500 others for the world. Of the 7,500, 7,000 were reserved for South Africans, 500 for the world. But only 3 people have come over. 3 Afghans came here in November. That's it. That's it. So 497 slots remain under that allocation. So in theory, you could take the 934 and add another 497, excuse me. You're welcome, Ilana. I guess you caught up and the sound caught up where you're at now. So yeah. Yep, vodka, that's true. A lot of people get those notifications. Shows you that there's an ulterior motive at YouTube, doesn't it? When those videos get virtually no views, mine get tens of thousands, and I have almost 45 million views on this channel, 126,000 subscribers, and you don't get notified of my videos. But you get notified of a channel that has virtually no viewers, that nobody's watching. Okay, Lana, take care. Yeah, also I've told people that. Here's another thing. You have to remember, you have to complete the questionnaire. So many people didn't listen to when I gave them instructions in November and repeated over and over again. They just didn't listen. They didn't complete the questionnaire. And then they blame the government because they never did. I know people that 6 months after the fact finally tell me the truth. Oh, I didn't push that. Well, you have to complete the questionnaire, submit at the bottom. When the screen comes up and says submitted, do a photograph of it on your mobile phone or do a screen capture to show that you did it. Otherwise, it hasn't been submitted. There's a lot, not 1 or 2, not 5 or 10, not 10 or 20, not 50 or 100, not 100, 200, but a few thousand people probably made that stupid error. Yep. Yep. Adil Faloni, what's up? How you doing? All right, yeah, so that's the key thing with that, folks. That's the key thing with that. So keep that in mind. Keep that in mind that you must have that submission thing show up on your screen or you haven't submitted it, okay? Ian says we're told 2 to 4 weeks, 254 days later, still waiting. Do refugees qualify for Medicaid? Yes. Yes, refugee families qualify for Medicaid. That's correct. It's up to a 48-day process to get approved, though. Thank you, Delia. Yep, they do. It's a matter of public law. So there's all kinds of weird things happening with Church World Service in Florida. Some good, some bad. Correct. The approval mail says 2 to 4 weeks soonest. Exactly. But people don't listen. They don't read. They don't pay attention. They don't pay attention. That says soonest. That doesn't mean you're going too far. I've told people that for the better part of the year. It doesn't mean you're leaving 2 to 4 weeks. It means be prepared to leave in 2 to 4 weeks at the earliest. All right. People want to hear what they want to hear. They want to do what they want to do. They want to complain about what they want to complain about. And they don't listen. And they blame everybody else. It's nobody else's fault. Process takes time. Mass explosion. Well, that's pretty scary, James. Be careful. You want to bugger off Bunny? I'm sorry to hear that, Dwayne. Okay, let's see if we've got that.
Yeah, go on by, say whatever. Hop to the left, Bunny's on the scene. Fur so clean, move sharp, he's mean. Eyes like fire, trolls start to quake. Mess with the bunny, big mistake. Bugger off, Bunny, protector of peace. Drop into the chaos, never on a leash. Trolls come lurking, but they can't pretend. The bunny's here and it's the bitter end. Bugger off, Bunny, protector of peace. Drop into the chaos, never on a leash. it's the bitter end. Connell's right hand and ears standing tall. One thumb from the foot sends him through the wall. Carrots in the pocket, wisdom in his paw. Trolls see the bunny, drop their jaw. Bounce, 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 the rhythm don't stop. Trolls try to climb but the bunny's on top. Guarded the garden, defender of the land. The bugger off bunny with the master plan. Bugger off bunny. Jumping through the chaos, never on a leash. Trolls come lurking, but they can't pretend. The bunny's here and it's the bitter end. Swift as a shadow, silent in the night. Trolls meet the bunny, then they take flight. Ears like antennas, catching every sound. The bugger off bunny, king of the ground.
Oh, you can up and go on no notice. Ask people who flee from wars. It's just not ideal, but you can leave on no notice. It's the difference between immigration and being a refugee. Immigrants have time to prepare their affairs and move their bank accounts and deal with their affairs and property. Refugees flee from conflicts or from chaos or from persecution, typically to a other country. And so you can pick up and go with no notice. It's just not ideal. Just not ideal. I'll drop and run with no notice, as Twinkle does. You're welcome, Dwayne. Roosevelt, what's up, man? Roosevelt, excuse me. Oh, that's Cool Beans' point. Yeah, no, I got you, man. Got you. I got you, Cool Beans. That's exactly the point. You can. It's not ideal. It's far from ideal. And it's unfair. But the problem I have it's unfair is that when they have booked your flight and they know they booked your flight and then they make you wait until a couple days before they tell you you have a flight, or the lady in PE who was supposed to fly and got called that day, why aren't you at the assembly area? What are you talking about? Your flight's today. Since when? Well, your flight today. No, we're not. No one told us. We have no email. Whew, man, that was a heartbreaker. 10.5 hour drive away. What are they supposed to do? Just, hop in the car, leave the keys to the house open and just drive and go? Wow. Last Dominic said waiting 14 months. Yep. I've heard a lot of theories about this. One of the theories I've heard, people tell me that one of the challenges is that, and I've heard this from more than one person. Someone mentioned it to you today, but I've heard it before. That's why I'm mentioning it. But one of the theories is that that they're not telling people that they've been denied, and they're not going to tell them. But the problem is they have to inform you if you've been denied. Yep. If you've been denied, they have to inform you. But the real problem I see in this program is the haphazard way that it was started. The PRM email, then the statement of interest, then the intake questionnaire, and the use of RSC to process the initial screening of candidates, and then the chaos of moving them from Nairobi to South Africa, then being in South Africa a few months, and then the raid on Woodmead. All of that contributed to confusion. And also the fact that a lot of people simply don't recognize, I don't know what some people are thinking here, but there are tens, probably hundreds of thousands of applicants. Excuse my nose itching. Hundreds of thousands of applicants. Do you know how long it takes to go through those things? When I got my approval, they can even give me tickets for the same day. I will leave everything. Yeah, well, people say that. I had a mini heart attack that day. Was it you, Madeline? Or, no, that wasn't you, Madeline. It was someone else. Dion Seeley says, fact. Oh, Cool Beans, yes, it's very unfair to get approval, not an approval letter, but no, not approval letter. What do you mean a callback for flights? That doesn't make sense. You mean tickets, and then your flight is canceled. Is that what you mean? That's very unfair. That's why I've jumped in. Cool Bean says, I just need 3 hours, man. That's how long it takes to get to the airport. There you go. Case went to RFD for December. Tickets for 19 canceled 21st February. Received tickets again 24th. Flew out 3rd March. Yeah, there you go, Alan. There you go. Yeah, you were in that category. People. 23rd is when they got canceled. 21st surprised me. Oh, Dion says about the hundreds of thousands. Thank you, Dion. I wasn't sure. In fact, yeah, no, it is. It was you, Madeline. And are you still in South Africa, Madeline? Are you still there? I mean, that story still that just beggars the imagination. What do you mean IOM is holding back in your medical results? What does that mean? What is IOM doing with your medical results? International Organization of Migration isn't handling these cases. It's me again. Dude, you're back. Seen you in a while. So, Neff, you're telling me that since May of 2025, you've had an email telling you that you were due to leave in 2 to 4 weeks? I don't know, Cool Beans. I think that Dante van Wyk wants out pretty badly, too. Yep. I think he wants out pretty badly, too. Madeline's not answering the question, so she doesn't have to answer the question. I'm just curious. Okay, so, yep. My goodness, folks. My goodness. It's a crazy world, huh? Well, just one interview can take 5 to 7 hours. So, yes, program does take a lot of time. There are 1,000 applicants. Yep, you're correct, Heidi. And that's just the interview. Never mind the screening that took place before that. Never mind the hundreds of hours that go into investigating your case. See, that's another thing. People are like, I've been waiting. Well, you know, your case takes time to investigate. It doesn't just happen like that. They're waiting on a report. From whom? Oh, you were postponed 3 times, Madeline. Okay. Cool Beans right. When you're survival, it's everyone for themselves. Yeah, fair enough. Hey, Shawnee, you're making succotash. Oh, I hate succotash. Suffering, succotash. Exit, stage left. Will your H-2A visa experience count in your favor? Absolutely not. Nope. See, Vikas, you're in the wrong mindset. This is not immigration. You don't get points for being good, for being a nuclear physicist, for being young, for being employed, for bringing out. You don't get, that doesn't matter. None of that matters. This is a refugee program. It's not an immigration program. Nobody gives a flying flip about what you did in H-2A or H-1B visa. No one cares. As long as you didn't overstay your visa. That they care about. Then it shows you're untrustworthy. But if you didn't violate your visa terms, don't care. It's not going to give you an edge up. If you're a nuclear physicist, not going to give you an edge up. If you're a doctor, not going to matter. Bricklayers, doesn't matter. Cancer, doesn't matter. Autism, doesn't matter. 90, doesn't matter. 9, doesn't matter. It's a refugee program. Done and dusted, finished and clear, simple. You get no advantage, and you don't deserve any advantage, because it's not about immigrants. It's about people suffering from unjust racial persecution. And I would argue unjust political persecution on top of that. And that is who's coming over here. That's who's supposed to be coming over here. So, you know, there's no advantage whatsoever. And there shouldn't be any advantage, giving people advantage because they've been here before. There's nothing to do with that. Nothing to do with that. Yeah, Dante's problem is he has a court case. So, yeah, the South African government's not going to let him go. So they're not going to try to book him a flight, most likely. No, the portal won't tell you if you've been denied. They must send you a letter. I want to see the person who's got a letter. Martin, XXL large. Always give me XXL large. I got broad shoulders and I put on a few pounds, but even without the pounds, I always have to get XXL large because I'm tall and I have wide shoulders. Your IQ doesn't count, Garrett. Thank goodness in your case. Memorial Day is to memorialize those who've fallen in combat, our war dead. The Europeans celebrate that on Armistice Day, which we call Veterans Day. Hey, Peter LaGrange in sunny Buffalo. Cool. You're working. That's awesome to hear, Peter. He's a political party. Who's a Tratzita? Hey, Dylan. Hot chocolate and homemade ginger biscuits. I'll take the hot chocolate. You can have the ginger biscuits. I don't like ginger. Ugh. Yep. No, no one. You don't get notified on the portal that you're denied. I don't know if they update and say you're denied because I don't know of a single case that's been denied. And I haven't reached out to the government for a quote, but I know that through January 31st, no one had been denied. You're going to camp in my lawn? Well, then you're going to have to mow it. I'll leave the mower outside so you can mow it. It's electric, so just plug it into the outlet. Yeah, Memorial Day is to commemorate our war dead, and it's the unofficial start of the summer season, Memorial Day, end of May. This year it's a little bit earlier, on the 25th or something like that, on Monday the 25th. My friend's case is still USCIS under review for nearly 3 months. Can anything be read into it? No. Yeah, nothing to be read into it, Joe. Unless they're not telling you something. There could be something we don't know about. One of the things I found is a number of people who write to me and scream that their case is being ignored. They haven't done anything. There's nothing in their background. Why is it taking so long? Only to find out months later, after I waste my time and effort to try to get information for them, that they weren't truthful with me. If a lot of these people, not all, but a lot of them, tell me that there's nothing going on, only for me to find out later on the fact there is something going on. And that's unfortunate. Shots fired. Garrett says shots fired. Garrett. Any open case, you're stuck in this country. So Delia is saying, so basically any open court case, you're stuck in this country. Well, you can't leave the country if the South African authorities won't let you leave. If you have an open case, you can't leave the country. How are you going to get out of the country? Home Affairs controls the borders, not U.S. immigration. Westhouse says, yes, ma'am. Huh? What's a Dylan playlist there, Wendy? How you doing? Been a while. What if it's malicious? Again, it doesn't matter if it's malicious. There's a case that I'm not talking about right now that I'm clued in on, I know about. And so, that reminds me of something. One I've not talked about here. I will talk about it again. But when it becomes clear. But there's a case, look, South African authorities can stop you from leaving the country, and we can do nothing about it. Anyone. You're a South African national, they can keep you from leaving the country. We can do nothing about it. We've been in and out of the country to Mozambique to do jobs. Travel Mzanzi says there's an agreement between the U.S. and South Africa. No one with a pending court case or conviction can leave. It was agreed upon between Dirk and the U.S. It's public in the media at some point. I believe that's a true statement, Travel Mzanzi, but I don't recall. You must be in the travel industry. Let me just look and see. Let me see. To the USA. Let's see. They don't have a specific bilateral agreement. There are established legal mechanisms, government movement and custody. Yep. We do have formal agreements for extradition, and legal cooperation. The South African Department of Home Affairs routinely enforces exit controls. If an individual has a pending criminal case, their bail conditions typically require them to surrender their passport and forbid international travel. Additionally, any active warrants or police stop lists are flagged in the border control systems. So that's what I'm talking about. So that's not the agreement between the U.S. That's the South African government, which is what I said. Okay. When's the next session between you and Professor G? I would say it's probably going to be after June 5th because I want to wait and see what the results are and if we've gone past the cap before I do that. That's going to be important. A scam for pets? When did I mention that, Joe? I don't recall that. Yeah, no, I covered the lawsuit, Shawnee, earlier. Two cats and a dolphin. Oh, yeah. I remember. Okay, thank you, Travel. I remember that. They said they won't interfere in the refugee program, but yeah. You're right. That's not a legal agreement. That was a gentleman's agreement. You're correct. You are correct. I remember that now. Yep. So the U.S., if we're abiding by that agreement, then that means that if you have a pending case, they're not going to prove your case. Yes, Yassine. I'm hoping the cap is going to be passed too, but I can't say. We don't know yet. Well, obviously you were never told not to leave because your passport wasn't flagged at the border. Should I carry on with this or close the case? I'm just asking because the cat. Okay. Oh my gosh. Do I need to say this for a billionth time? Oh, yeah. No, that was a South African who scammed another South. That's not a scam. That was an individual who screwed someone. They cheated them out of money. That's an old story. That's not an organized scam. That was a South African who defrauded another South African. So, all right, Grok Matrix. I'm going to say this for the 1 billionth time, okay? Please, luister allemaal. Hört zu. Écoutez-moi. Écoutez-moi. J'explique maintenant tout. Okay. Hören Sie mal. Luister. The cap is for this fiscal year. The fiscal year expires on 30 September. If the cap is achieved prior to 30 September, in practice, in theory, there would be no more refugees coming this fiscal year. The start of the new fiscal year, we'll find out what the cap for next fiscal year is in August or September when it's required to be reported to Congress by the administration. And then we'll know how many people can come over next year, which starts on 1 October. The people who are waiting to come over will then be brought over if they're still eligible. Is that clear to everybody? I don't know how many times I have to mention this in the broadcast. I mention almost all the time. I've done videos about the cap. I've explained it, but people just don't watch them. It's incredibly frustrating. You're welcome, Joe, Texas. You're welcome. Well, I haven't seen that full agreement there, Travel Mzanzi. I haven't seen the full agreement. But why is it concerning? People are coming over. They're not being stopped. Just worrying. Yeah, I get your lack of trust, but yep. Well, it would also explain a problem I've seen crop up lately. A number of South Africans, and I don't know if it's the banks themselves or at the behest of the government, are having their bank accounts frozen after they arrive in America. A number of refugees have come over here. Not all, but some, not all. They've arrived here, and I don't know the reasons for it. It could be legitimate, it could be an anti-money laundering thing, it could be something. I don't know. But several South Africans I know that have come over here have had their bank accounts frozen in South Africa. Is that intentional to stop the drain of cash out of the country? I don't know. I really don't know. But I know that that's concerning. That's very concerning. Very concerning. Disconcerting. Yep. Yes, Travel Mzanzi. Yes, I know at least, probably about a half a dozen that have confided in me about their bank accounts being frozen. You're welcome, Vikas. About a half a dozen. Yep. Maybe there's more that haven't told me yet. But yeah, that's very disconcerting. Yeah, that banks have that kind of power. Yes, we could have another government shutdown because the government's not funded through next year. That's a good point. Although Homeland Security will be funded, according to the agreement they just reached. Anyway. All right, be sure to hit the like button if you haven't done it so far, folks. Okay? Let's see how many likes we've got on the stream. 325. Not bad. Do I play chess? I used to play chess, Garrett, but I find it too boring. I don't have the patience for it. I was very good at chess. I wasn't a chess master, but I was very, very accomplished chess player as a youth, under the age of 10 and on. Yeah, I played chess. Yep. Yeah, I've seen. Everyone hears, but no one listens. Yep. Yep, that's what Corey says. You can't buy dollars without a ticket. Yeah, I heard that story. But you can't have a dollar account? That's just crazy. Yeah, use Swift. Yep. Transfers. All right. Cool. Anyway, so I think if you search the internet about that gentleman's agreement. Okay. News 24. Yeah, I'll look into that. Thank you. Banks could freeze your account if you didn't inform them of international travel. Got my FMB global account and got a notification to notify them of my travel, so the account. Like a credit card, Daddy. Sarcastic. Yep. But what's annoying for me is one of my main credit cards from my military affiliated, insurance bank and brokerage company would freeze my credit card when I was living overseas, and they knew I was overseas. I informed them. They're just stupid. Travels, I know you need to go inform your bank where you're going, which card accounts you will use before you fly out. Well, that's understandable. They're trying to, but that's very, very imposing on people. Last time we'll mentally prepare for leaving starting October. In the meantime, we'll start touring South Africa. Okay. Look, I mean, if Reuters is correct that the Trump administration sources saying they're going to increase the cap by 10,000, well, with 4.5 months ago, that would mean over 2,500 people will be coming per month. Or about 2,500, if that happens. So I don't know. So you just have to wait and see. This is why I don't want to have the next stream with Professor G until after the 5th when I've digested that stuff that night. So probably the 7th or something like that. Yeah, someone who informed the bank and they froze the account. Yeah, this is nonsense. These banks have your money. It's just utter BS. They get away with this crap. I think when people apply for unabridged certificates proactively, we're flagged by Home Affairs potential refugee. We were explicitly asked if we are leaving. Well, all you have to do, Miss V, is tell them that, as I said before, it's like passport. Why do you need a passport? Because I'm going to Mauritius on holiday. Why need a birth certificate? Well, because I'm unabridged because I'm getting married and that was demanded of me. I don't know why. They said I had to have this. Meds are kicking in, says Leslie. Okay. All our stuff went back into progress except for pre-screening. We're back. You're not back to square one, Loretta. Stop following this stupid portal. Don't act now. We might never be able to. We don't know who gets elected after Trump. Exactly. You may never get this opportunity again. Probably won't. If the leftists take over, they'll probably end this program instantly, and they'll open our country up to people who shouldn't be here. So it happened in 1980 when Rhodesians leaving the bank account got frozen. Yep. No doubt about it. Yep. It's a shame. Neff misheard something. There you go. Sorry for a testament. There you go. Yep. So you just lie to Home Affairs. I don't encourage people to lie, but if they're going to be devious, just lie to them. Yep. That's what people should do. Alrighty, guys. Let's, shall we call it a day? Grok says I keep my head high. Well, then don't spaz out over the cap, okay? And giving up, okay? Because if the cap is achieved and they don't go around it, then we will have the new fiscal year. You're welcome, Twinkle Toes. I answered the question about the courts, Delia. Well, there you go. Told him your documents destroyed in floods. Okay, thank you for that, Miss V. You're welcome, Vodka Model, Dion Seeley, Petunia, Mandy, Virtual Western Cape. Be sure to like button, folks. Don't forget the like button. I'll see you tonight for Night Owls. But it'll be an earlier and a shorter one, probably at 10 o'clock, so I can go to bed and get up for the election tomorrow. All right? Cheers. You guys take care. It's always a pleasure. Thanks for being here. Thanks, Flinkdink. Thanks for playing along. Hit the like button. It's free. It doesn't cost anything. Just a moment of your time.